Hey everybody, Paul here coming at you with a Crypto Coffee update. I got all kinds of news, events, conferences, all of the good stuff for you here today in our tri-weekly segment that we do. But of course, you know, I'm going to need a simultaneous sip. So if it's your first time with us, this is just a sip of coffee, tea, or water if you so prefer, just to give us a moment of peace and serenity to start out the day right. So join me now. Delicious. And I did get that idea from Scott Adams. I think it's a fantastic kind of psychological camaraderie thing we can do together. But for now, I know why you're here. You're not just here for Paul, you're here for the news. So let's get into it. Goldman Sachs is pivoting from Bitcoin trading to a custody service. This is a piece of news that hit the crypto world rather hard. It was a big psychological blow. After all, Goldman Sachs, huge institution, onboarding into crypto and Bitcoin trading. Well, not so much. Luckily, it's not all bad news, so let's explore. Goldman Sachs has removed their Bitcoin trading desk from its priority list, citing regulatory issues. Again, we're bumping up against the mammoth of the state and the issue of, well, they're slow moving, they're cumbersome, and they don't have clear regulations for this new emerging financial technology. Being such a large institution like Goldman Sachs, it makes sense that they want to proceed with caution rather than asking for forgiveness rather than permission. However, despite shelving this trading desk plan, they are going ahead with their idea to roll out a cryptocurrency custodial service. This will still help large institutional investors have access to cryptocurrency, but probably not as seamlessly as if they were to just simply implement the trading desk plan. Again, regulations can be faulted for this, and the Bitcoin markets did not respond too favorably. You can see here I took this from the actual article, a stark drop from just above 7,400 all the way down to touching just below 7,000. So we sweated off about $400 to $500 in just a matter of hours. Luckily, as you can see by this chart, even though this is monthly lows because it's still the beginning of the month, back on August 31st, we were even lower than this still. So reasonably, we are still in a healthy range in my opinion. And again, as I like to say, only time will tell how these developments will unfold. But of course, you know we're going to be keeping you up to date as major things do develop. Our next article, IBM makes another blockchain identity play with this time a health data app. This has been a major question for the blockchain industry, given health data as well has a lot of regulations surrounding it, some more opaque than others. This is all in place to ensure that users have some reasonable measure of control over their data, their medical data, and a lot of the times that's easier said than done. Well, IBM wants to smooth that out using blockchain, revolutionary technology. Let's unpack who they're partnering with and how they want to make this happen. It seems IBM's blockchain division is working with a company called Humanity that already has an app that's used to track legal ownership of individuals' data. The hashtag My31 app is named since the company believes that data access and legal ownership should be the 31st human right in addition to the 30 already ratified UN human rights. So Humanity as a company has a huge interest in making sure that users have sovereign and secure data. The partnership with IBM could very much help with that mission statement. And as it's been said, data is the new oil, and interestingly enough, it does have a crude and refined form. A lot of these large companies like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, of course IBM, and really any website on the internet nowadays uses scripts and other tools to siphon off bits of your data and store that and sell it to third-party providers. Oftentimes this data is really opaque, it's all jumbled together in a way that's difficult to discern. However, if you can break down this data, attribute it to user profiles or certain behaviors, essentially making it much more easy to look at from a human perspective, well, the value of this data goes up markedly since it can give you incestuous pieces of information about your users, and therefore make better business decisions. You can see here in its refined form, personal data such as patients' health records, they can change hands for an average of around $400 a piece, which is huge. It's for this reason that the sovereignty and sanctity of your individual data is becoming such a huge issue, and luckily, decentralization very well may be one of the key pieces to the puzzle. Unfortunately, this technology isn't without its kind of Orwellian downsides, as we can explore in the next article. Chinese City is using blockchain to track convicts on parole. We've previously talked about the implementation of what's known as the Sesame Score in China, which is a social credit rating system. While this does ring a bit of the dystopian future, a more decentralized application of this technology could have really beneficial use cases to just track how people interact with society at large. However, being that this is an implementation of the government, it's going to be interesting and, as I said, a bit Orwellian perhaps to see how this unfolds. Convicts on parole in the southern Chinese city of Zhongshan can now find themselves being tracked on a blockchain network. The Justice Department said this is for community correction, and it's apparently been deployed across various community service centers where parolees are required to check in and submit for their daily duty. And Zhongshan isn't the only Chinese city to be using blockchain technology. Both Hangzhou and Shenzhen are using it for various applications, primarily government-centered activity. Shenzhen's using it to fight tax evasion, so as I mentioned, the government application of this not-so-decentralized implementation of blockchain can be a cause for worry, but also a cause for wonder. Moving from China over to the subcontinent, a company called TransferGo has launched instant payments to India with Ripple blockchain technology. We talked briefly in the last Crypto Coffee update about India and some of the tentative regulations for individuals in the country surrounding cryptocurrency. However, it seems that institutions do not have to abide by such regulations, given that it's more of a long-term implementation due to the scale of their enterprise. To quote the founder and chief executive of TransferGo, by using Ripple's revolutionary blockchain tech, we are able to establish real-time communication between us and our banking partner in India, allowing TransferGo customers to send money to family and friends or make international payments immediately. End quote. So as you can see, it doesn't seem like this is going to enable anybody to transfer crypto per se. Rather, it's going to allow the bank to move liquidity between it and its partners seamlessly using a crypto/blockchain network. And the company didn't say specifically how they're going to be working with Ripple in this capacity. However, it is speculated in the article that it very likely will be over RippleNet. As mentioned in some previous Crypto Coffee updates, Ripple has a love-hate relationship with the crypto community, sometimes lauded as the centralized behemoth of the crypto world that doesn't really fit in with its peers. It definitely does seem to serve a niche in the existing financial world, bridging the gap between these emerging decentralized technologies and these existing large legacy institutions. People's familiarity and therefore trust with existing institutions, however, sometimes leads to some interesting discrepancies as we see this decentralized space mature. Cryptocurrency exchange Changely can apparently take your Monero if it wants, and one has to wonder, is this really that much of a surprise anymore? This is something we've talked about before on this channel. If you don't control the private keys, you de facto do not control the crypto. Storing your crypto in something like a cold wallet, such as a Trezor or a Ledger, is provably more secure than keeping your coins at worst on an exchange or even in an online wallet. If you do use an online wallet, it seems the best thing to do is to set a password that you then back up in the physical world, such as a safe or somewhere you know it's secure and can't really be found or discerned. So do your own research and safety first. If you have any questions, feel free to join the Cryptide Discord. That's just a little caveat for safety. Let's go ahead and jump into what has these users so worried. Dating back to as far as December 2017, individuals were speculating whether or not Changely had the ability to freeze funds, similar to the Bancor situation earlier this year. The statement from Changely says, once again, our risk management system may put on hold some suspicious transactions, and the security department is working hard in order to process such operations in minimal time. When a customer refuses to provide the required data, we cannot simply return coins, as we wouldn't like to operate and transfer coins that might be potentially stolen or raised by fraud. End quote. So this is just a way for Changely to kind of get out of the legal crosshairs in the event of stolen or fraudulent coins ending up on their exchange. This is just a small excerpt from the statement by Changely, but it does say a lot. Now, Changely clarifies that they don't just mark transactions out of the blue, there has to be a specific reason. However, due to the anonymity of Monero, transactions become untraceable. So one has to wonder to what degree Changely would be able to discern any kind of nefariousness in various Monero transactions. With that said, Changely does have Know Your Customer or KYC identity compliance, so if individuals are worried about that, then largely what they can do is just use a decentralized exchange such as Komodo or CryptoBridge. But that's all we have for the news of the day. Let's go ahead and get into the happenings for September 7th, Friday. The Founder World Conference is kicking off in San Francisco. Vechain is having a meetup in Shanghai. There's a blockchain cruise happening all across the Mediterranean with such names as Brock Pierce and Roger Ver. And ETH Berlin, which is a hackathon and developer conference, is kicking off in, of course, Berlin. Next up for September 8th, Saturday, we have a blockchain and crypto meetup happening in Manchester. And that's all we have going on for the weekend. Couldn't find anything on Sunday, just seems to be kind of a quiet down day. Nonetheless, there are some happenings going on in the B list down in the description. They're all fine projects, just far too much to talk about with respect to time. After all, we'd be here all day. But for now, thank you for watching, for your time, for your attention, and for your support. I read every comment and it really does mean the world. Helps me to keep going. If you found this content enjoyable and beneficial, feel free to drop us a like on YouTube or Viewly. Viewly is preferable, we get a little crypto benefit from there, or just share this information with people who you think could find it valuable as well. After all, we want to grow the crypto space to be the best it could possibly be over the long term. After all, nothing gets built unless we build it ourselves, so we're all in this together, reaching towards a brighter future. Thanks again. My name is Paul, signing off for the time being. We are Cryptide, and remember, the tide is rising. No placid water here.